My name is Jamie Lee Curtis, and these are some of my favorite behind-the-scenes moments, or BTS, as the kids call them, from the Halloween movies. So the original Halloween movie was made in 17 days. It was so fast. And I remember shooting that sequence in that closet with the louvered pieces of wood. And I think we did it like in an hour. It was shot so quickly. I remember when the wire hanger is there and that moment where she grabs it and unspools it and kind of jabs at him. And I remember thinking how smart Laurie Strode was. I just remember being impressed with her ingenuity in that really terrifying moment. And what would you do if somebody was, coming at you in a closet? In the intelligence of Laurie Strode figuring out that if you undo the wire hanger and jab him, that it would cause him maybe to either move away or whatever, and he drops the knife. Obviously, there are a couple knife drops in the Halloween movie. There's one earlier on in the movie, and then now this last sequence. So when she stabs him, which again shows Laurie's ingenuity and intelligence, but then there's the moment immediately following it where she drops the knife again, which I kept saying to John, why is she throwing away the knife? And he said, because she has to finish the movie, basically. Because if he doesn't have a knife, there's no threat. So I remember also the incongruity of that, being like, yeah, this is great, but that seems like a really stupid move. Happy Halloween, Michael. So the idea that the plan the whole time has been that we're going to trap Michael, that it was we're going to lure him into a position where we were then going to entrap him and burn him. It was obviously a very intense sequence. The kitchen fight was intense and physical and painful, very painful. But, I remember that it was also very gratifying that when you see a plan come together and, the ingenuity even for the special effects team of creating the way that the basement gets sealed off with those everybody on the crew was told, stay 25 feet away from this, because they were real spikes, and obviously they didn't want to trip it too early. So it was fun and intense and, a Halloween movie. I personally don't like special effects and stunts because they're dangerous. And I've participated in a lot of special effects and a lot of stunts. Obviously, the amount of security and safety briefings and planning and support teams and support personnel are always everywhere all the time. There's so many meetings and so much planning. And yet, at some point, you still light something on fire. And that's always awesome and terrifying all at the same time, just the power of fire. And that was intense to see that much fire around that house.
There are authorities who are trained to deal with exactly this. There's a system.
Well, the system failed. Now get the out of my way.
Don't. No.
The filmmakers, when they made the first movie, painted themselves into a very bloody corner, because Laurie sustains a serious abdominal wound and basically is bleeding out from that knife wound in the back of the truck when the movie ends. So when you pick up the next movie, which they hadn't planned in advance, and Laurie is brought to the hospital in a continuous time stamp, Laurie has a terrible stomach wound. And you have to honor that in the movie and in the storytelling. And so the reality is Laurie was taken into surgery. There's a surgical scene. They cut her open. And, there's small dialogue in the background saying, like, luckily it didn't get a major artery or something, but she still has a terrible abdominal wound. And then she's in a hospital bed. And then at some point she's supposed to get up and like start to run around a bit. And I'm a practical actor. And I said, well, there's no way she can move around. Like, I've had surgeries where I've had little incisions this big and you can't move, let alone like a big stomach. So we had this whole conversation about how could she has to get something in her that will make her not feel as pained. And we came up with the sequence where her partner in the bed next to her is getting a dose of something, and she even makes a comment like, give him more dope. And, injecting herself in the stomach with what we assume is some sort of painkiller at least gives you some logic that she could then move around a little bit. But then as the rest of the movie progresses, I do some very good stomach pain acting. I'm just saying. They don't give Oscars for stomach pain acting in horror movies, but would have won because I was really very, very impressive.
Come on, let's go.
So this last movie, Halloween Ends, is a very emotional movie. The second Halloween movie was a horror film. It was just grisly and bloody and body county. This is much more like the original Halloween, which was much more of a thriller, really, and less grisly. And the roller coaster of the new movie is that there's a moment, it takes place 4 years after the last movie. So there's a moment where you believe that maybe Laurie Strode and the town of Haddonfield are healing, and that there can be some healing and some chance of moving on with their lives. And you just bring her right up to the top of the roller coaster where you think maybe for 1 second things are going to work out, and then things don't work out. And then everything, and then it becomes a fight to the end. And the end battle is in a kitchen between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. And it was about a week of shooting, and it was intense. And my only commentary to the entire team was, please don't make it look like a movie fight. Please. This has to be like a street brawl. This needs to be brutal and not fancy. And everything has to be real. And there's a sequence where he gets some power over her and tries to put her hand down a garbage disposal. Because that's so real. Who of us have not put something down the garbage disposal and then gone to retrieve it, and then the whole thing of like, okay, there's the switch, it's not on, putting my hand down here, So I just wanted to make sure that that final sequence felt real and powerful and scary, and it does. I've been playing Laurie Strode for 44 years. And that last day was not a particularly harrowing day. It was a pretty simple shoot day. But everybody knew it was my last day, and the entire crew was there. And all the actors showed up. And it was really emotional. It was powerful because I am her, and I've been her for a long time, and that relationship is the most important professional relationship I will ever have. And so ending a professional relationship that's the most important one of your life is powerful and very bittersweet. And I'm not going to cry here. I won't do it. But I have shed many a tear because the people who love her love me because I am her. And I feel it from people. I feel it. I feel for whatever reason, people have leaned in and really taken her into their lives as their sister. And I feel like I have a really giant family now. And it's hard to say goodbye to them.